Hi and welcome to a special summer episode of Dynamics Update. You had an update with 10.0.20 in the beginning of July, but we thought that since you're on vacation and you're just laying on the beach and taking it easy, we thought that you might as well learn something when you were on vacation. So I've invited one of my colleagues, Tobias Lång, who is a recognized FastTrack architect. So we thought that when you were in your Dynamics 365 project, you have probably heard the word FastTrack being thrown around. And I know that in the beginning, Microsoft was very, very good at explaining this, but they have they're not as obvious. There are a lot of information on docs on this, but I thought we'd spend an episode just going through it. So welcome, Tobias.
Thank you very much, Johan. Glad to be back on the podcast again.
Since you're one of the 20 FastTrack Recognized Solution Architects for Finance and Operations, I think you're probably the right person to talk to.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, maybe it makes sense to start kind of from the beginning and kind of try to explain what is FastTrack actually. And I think putting it into perspective, FastTrack is nothing that is unique purely for Dynamics 365. FastTrack is actually a program which Microsoft offers throughout their suite, basically. So you can get FastTrack support for transitioning to the Azure cloud as well. So, but I mean, focus here today will be FastTrack for Dynamics 365. So focusing on the Biz Apps workload. And as you mentioned, it's correct. I actually have had the recognized FastTrack badge for the last 3 years, which I'm really glad for, basically. But trying to come back to, I mean, what is FastTrack? So typically Microsoft describes it as a customer success program, and essentially what that means is that they want to ensure successful, high-quality implementations of Dynamics 365, and in order to do so, they provide a set of guidelines, recommendation in terms of methodology, but also in terms of various kind of patterns that is suitable to include in an implementation. And it could be patterns for integration, but it could also be various kind of solution architecture related patterns. So that's just a quick introduction of the concept of FastTrack.
Yeah, and I would also say that a really important resource that's in the FastTrack program is also the TechTalk recordings. Microsoft is doing TechTalks, I think, at least one every month, and they've done so for the last 4 years or so. So there is quite a library of TechTalks regarding reporting, business intelligence, performance troubleshooting, setting up LCS, and so all of these things that they realized early on that they got a lot of questions about. They actually set up a tech talk about it, so that it was easily accessible and it was easy way to find it. So all of those are today uploaded on Docs. They have been in a couple of different places historically, but now they have ended up in the Docs site, if I don't misremember.
Yeah, that's correct. And I think it's important to mention that the FastTrack is actually a team of senior architects. They have a specific EMEA team, and they have another one for US, and it's basically a global team of senior architects, and they one part of their job is obviously to support in certain implementation projects, but they also do a lot of recordings in terms of this tech talk which is published and available to the entire community. So that's also an important part of the assets that they provide to kind of educate partners and customers in various topics. And if you haven't heard about the tech talks, I really encourage everyone that is part of an implementation project, or if you're already running some kind of Dynamics 365 workload, to take a look at those assets, because it's really good recordings conducted by really senior architects, which has been involved in many projects basically. So they have a lot of lessons learned that they like to share with the community, and I think that's a great thing. Yeah.
So how do one get access to the FastTrack program? Is it open to anyone?
So that's a really common question, and I think to get access to the assets in terms of the tech talks, that's obviously available to everyone. But to get the full FastTrack program, which means that you get access to a dedicated solution architect where you can plan a number of workshops, which is actively involved in your implementation projects and will provide guidelines and recommendations throughout the project. That's basically come down to how much you will invest in Dynamics 365 subscription licensing, and for finance or supply chain management workloads, it means investing $300,000 per year in subscription licensing for Dynamics 365 finance or supply chain management. That's kind of the level you need to get up to or get over, basically. So it's a fairly high level, which means a lot of customers does not reach that one. And the team is fairly small, so that's also, I think, an idea behind Microsoft there, that currently they can't really scale that team because they don't have more resources than that right now. They are obviously looking at various ways to scale the offerings, and I think we're gonna go back to that one. But I think this 300,000 is currently the limit, and it's nothing that a partner basically can affect. It's purely come down to committing to that kind of subscription licensing.
So this used to be 150 seats, and it also used to be a little more negotiable. I know that both you and I have been in some projects that wouldn't really get FastTrack, but which due to circumstances got FastTrack anyway. So it was a bit negotiable at that time. I know that they have become firmer on that part as well. And as you're saying, some customers won't ever end up in that amount of money, even if they're fully implemented. And some customers who's doing like a global rollout, for instance, that I'm involved in right now, they are not ready to implement to invest that kind of money during the rollout phase, because during the rollout phase they will have a lot less licenses, and which means that this will be a major cost over the years that the rollout projects progress, until they come up to this sum of money where they actually would get FastTrack.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point to make, that, I mean, it doesn't matter if the customer says that, okay, we're running AX 2012 today and we are 1,500 users worldwide. We easily gonna get over these 300,000 level in 1 or 2 years. So we want to get FastTrack, full FastTrack from day one, basically. One could argue that kind of make sense, right? Because that's typically how a rollout looks like. I mean, you initially purchase maybe a subset of licensing because you don't going to use everyone from the beginning. But that's not how the FastTrack setup is kind of configured right now. So it's upfront investment. So that's also important to be aware of, basically. But with that said, I mean, it's obviously a good thing, and they release a lot of content. But I mean, there's also a number of really skilled and experienced system integrators out there. So I wouldn't say that it's not like it's critical for the success of the project that you have full FastTrack on it. I mean, that's certainly not the case. So I think that's also an important point to make. I mean, if you're a big company and you have the possibility to have a dedicated solution architect resource from the FastTrack team, I mean, why not take the opportunity, right? But it's not like it's critical for your success if you have a good partner. So that's also an important point to make.
Exactly, and I think that it's also important to understand the role of FastTrack in the actual project, because I know that as a technical specialist or technical architect, to be honest, I was a bit disappointed in because I think they had higher expectations on what they actually would contribute to the project. Not that it's not good, but from my perspective, it was not what I expected. So I mean, of course, there are a lot of there is an onboarding with Microsoft Fasttrack, and then you have like a kickoff, and you do a lot of different workshops, especially customer tailored workshops. So if you're working a lot with BI, for instance, there is a special workshop for BI. If you're working a lot with data management and so on, there is a special workshop for that as well. So there are pre-designed workshops that will actually help you investigate and pinpoint potential issues that you're going to run into. And of course, as you said, the TechTalks and community office hours are also important part in this. But for instance, I mean, they will not do any job in the actual project. They will be support for the project, but they will not like solve any issues or anything like that. They might help you escalate support tickets and especially towards the DCS team, the people who are hosting the servers and managing those. They can actually elevate importance of such a ticket. But normally when it comes to a specific issue, they either recommend filing a support ticket or using like planning hours and so on, consultant hours that you have on your partner project to actually hire a consultant, if from Microsoft or from the partner, to help you to figure out the issues.
Yeah, and you're totally correct about that. And I think that's something that they make very clear in the beginning, already when you have the partner and customer kickoff, that the FastTrack team will provide advisory and recommendation throughout the project, but they will not take any responsibility of the actual implementation and ensuring that you meet the certain deadlines, for example. So that's also important to understand. But as you say, they have I would say a really comprehensive catalog or framework of methodologies and best practices that they can provide as input to the project. And I mean, typically it starts already in some kind of like requirement or mobilization phase, when your customer has typically just signed the agreement with a system integrator or has kind of established the setup of the project. Then typically they want to have some kind of solution blueprint review like early on to just establish some baselines around the solution architecture like early on, and that's typically really something that is really appreciated by both customer and partners, to get some kind of early heads up on some like fundamental architecture decisions to feel comfort in moving forward, and also to have some recommendations around, for example, environment setup. So which environments do you need? What purposes when in the project are they needed? They can have some inputs around those areas, and also application lifecycle management in terms of how to work with your code in an efficient way. So that's kind of the part, as you said, in the kind of the mobilization or requirement phase. But then when you transition into design, build, and kind of design, build, testing phases, they have a number of workshops where you typically work together with customer partner to schedule them, set an appropriate agenda, and that's typically around like data migration, how to approach that, and what's recommendations can Microsoft provide around that. We also have integration workshop where they review the various integration maps and also provide recommendations around suitable patterns to address typical workloads. We have business intelligence workshop, like how to leverage the various reporting and BI tools, and gap workshops where we kind of have a possibility to discuss major gaps and potential solutions to them, whether they are extensions or perhaps ISV or Power Apps or other kind of solutions. We have test performance workshops, so there's a number of like workshops that could be set up depending on the customer needs. And moving forward to the kind of the stabilization or preparation prior to go live, they have workshops around cutover planning, and then also finally go live review to ensure that the customer is ready basically, and are mature enough to go live with the Dynamics workload. So it's actually a comprehensive set of tools and workshops that this program provides basically.
I would also say that there is one other important part when the FastTrack program kicks off, is actually that your account manager at Microsoft will get notice that you are in the FastTrack project, and they will actually also be able to help you with escalating things like support tickets and so on. And that, I think that's also a big important part of this, that you are at a much larger scale doing this together with Microsoft rather than together with the partner or by yourself in this case.
That's true.
All right. So as you mentioned before that there are actually coming some changes to the FastTrack project, and because Microsoft has noticed that it's a bit hard to scale using this not so large team. So what is actually going to happen?
Yeah, well, so I mean, the idea of a program to ensure the success of the implementation and to allow customer and partners to kind of leverage the experience and the best practice patterns, I think it kind of makes sense to make that available to the broader market. But because, I mean, essentially, projects that fail could provide negative awareness around the actual product and Microsoft as such as well, although it might not be the actual workload that is the problem. But I mean, many failures around implementations obviously have a negative impact on the brand and the Dynamics image. So it kind of makes sense, and I understand why they want to reach a bigger degree of the bigger part of the community with the FastTrack concept. And That's why they have released a new initiative called Success by Design, which is actually a way to scale out the FastTrack offering utilizing certified partners. So you probably remember I said that you have this 300,000 USD as kind of a lower limit to get access to the dedicated solution architect, and now they have something called Success by Design, where you could be a certified partner, where typically a customer which has invest in Dynamics subscription licenses from 150K up to 300,000 could get or leverage the entire framework and all the workshop, but rather utilized a certified system integrator to support instead. So that's actually like a way for Microsoft to get out the message to the end clients, but utilizing the partner to scale out the FastTrack concept, so to speak. So I think this is it's a fairly new thing. It has been around for a couple of months now, and there is a fairly rigorous certification process where you as a partner take online courses, and where you also have to answer a test basically to ensure that you have understood the various parts of this FastTrack concept. And I know quite recently Microsoft also released a Success by Design implementation guidelines book, which is available to everyone for download. So if you have time this summer and feel that you want to read something around this topic, there's actually an ebook, I think 690 pages, so it's actually a very comprehensive book here, but that's basically summarizing all the thoughts and the recommendations around this FastTrack program. Yeah.
We will actually leave a link in the show notes of the episode to the book. So if you feel like all of the mystery books are out of the summer, so then you have your other books as well.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So is there anything more that we would like to bring up before leaving for this time?
I don't think so. I think this was an introduction to the FastTrack concept. I mean, we talked a little bit about what is FastTrack, and it was kind of this customer success program. I think we also touched upon how to get access, where you have this money-based thresholds, and also what role FastTrack have in an implementation, and it's typically around the advisory and recommendation, not having the full responsibility, which is still on the customer and the implementation partner typically. And then this Success by Design concept, which is Microsoft's way of scaling out the FastTrack offering to a wider audience, utilizing the partner community to a larger extent. And you will definitely hear more about this. And then finally, if you have time over during the summer, you have a really good documentation if you're interested to really dig into what a FastTrack and Success by Design is, which is the free ebook, which we're gonna put the link in the show notes. So I think that was all.
All right. So thank you, Tobias, for letting us know more about the FastTrack program. And to all of our listeners, hope you have a wonderful summer, and we'll be back this autumn with the next episode of Dynamics Update.
Have a great vacation. Bye.